Today we are touching on a lighter topic. Okay, so we are touching on oral communication. Okay, so that's what we are doing today. So more specifically, we are touching on reading aloud skills for today. Okay, so it's a bit more lighthearted, and hopefully by the end of the lesson, you would have learned a few tips and tricks on how to do better for your oral. And as we all know, you are tested on oral because speaking is so important in society, right? Next time when you get a job, if you don't speak up for yourself or if you don't speak clearly and communicate what you want, you're going to be at a disadvantage, right? Because you might get skipped or you might get missed for a promotion or even when you do a project with people in the future in secondary school, right? Or in primary six, even. If you don't communicate properly, then it's going to be an issue, right? Because people didn't or don't know what you want or what your expectations are, and so on and so forth. So communication is really important, and it's about speaking and it's about listening as well. Okay, so that's why we have to train you in oral so that you can speak and then people understand what you mean. And understanding is not as easy as you might think it is, especially when you have a lot of information to give to the other person. So, how are you going to break the information down? How are you going to make sure that person understands what you mean correctly, the way that you mean it, right? So, that's all oral communication. So today we are going to concentrate on a few things. Okay, today we are going to concentrate on good pronunciation. Okay, and today we are going to concentrate on um, expressing yourself. All right. You may know someone, or maybe it's you as well, who read your reading aloud part, right? Like a robot. Okay, so you should not be doing that. You should be expressive. So how do we do that? Okay, let's explore that a little bit as well. Ooh, here comes Yutaka. Okay, so based on your experience, what is important in your reading aloud section? And in the previous class over here, I have had some comments from some of your classmates already. Okay, some of them said it's very important to read clearly with good pronunciation. Okay, some of them said, oh, it's important to speak loudly because your teacher may not be able to hear you clearly. This is especially so for those of us who are a bit more shy, right? When our teachers, when we are speaking to our teachers, we can be really loud and boisterous when we are talking to our parents and our friends. But the moment we go for an oral test, suddenly we're very shy and we speak very softly. Okay, so volume is important. If the person can't hear you, the person can't give you marks, right? And some of your friends said we need to make the reading more interesting by varying our tone, all right? And that would mean changing the way we speak, especially when there are dialogues from the characters in the story, right? You have to change the way you speak and imagine yourself as that character in order to do well for the way that you read. And I had a student tell me pacing is very important, like your speed, right? We need to read at a reasonable pace, not too fast, not too slow. If we are reading too fast, we tend to make pronunciation mistakes. If we are reading too slow, the teacher's going to mark us down because we are too slow. People will get bored if they listen to someone so slow. Imagine if you're supposed to entertain people. How can you entertain them if you are speaking so slowly? Okay, so those are some points. Now, these points have been taken, so for your class, it's a bit harder. Okay, I would like you to share with me in the chat group, all right, what is something that you find is very important when you do your read aloud section, so we can share tips with each other. Okay, everyone, give me one thing that you think is very important when you do your reading aloud. Ah, here comes Rina. Okay, so Rina and Yutaka are here. So, what other tips can you give for, imagine you have a friend who's going to go for their reading aloud, yeah? What tips will you give? Like your best friend, your best friend's really nervous. So Rachel says the tone. What do you mean by the tone? So it sounds quite similar to the third one here, yeah? Make the reading more interesting by varying your tone. I think that's one thing. And okay, I think that there's another thing about tone that we need to remember. I'll write it in green here. Okay. Um, the tone needs to go up if it's a question, and down when it's a statement, right? So when I ask you a question, for example, how are you today? I will say today. See, I will go down, then up. How are you today? So when we read, make sure we know how to change our tone. If it's a normal sentence, we don't go ooh, right? If we go ooh, it makes it sound like a question. So for example, Marissa, okay, let's say I have a sentence. Okay, the sentence is um, I want to know your English marks. That's the sentence. Okay. So if I say, I want to know your English marks, you will know it's a full stop because I say marks, marks. It goes from top to bottom, right? Marks, full stop. But imagine if I said it in this way, Marissa, I want to know your English marks. Marks? Then Marissa will be wondering, huh? Does Mr. Joel want to know my marks or not want to know my marks? I don't understand. He's confusing me. He said, Marissa, I want to know your marks, right? That's just weird, right? So depending on the type of sentence, our tone needs to change. Okay? Um, Han Mai said, don't stammer or stutter. Okay, when people stammer or stutter, it's actually quite normal, right? People stammer or stutter. I think the very important question we have to ask is why people stammer or stutter. If we tell them don't stammer or stutter, they will be even more nervous. It's kind of like when you tell little kids not to run and then they run faster. Yeah? Have you heard your parents or your teachers say that before? Like, hey, don't run. And then right, the person goes, wee, continue to run like crazy, right? Okay. So when people say don't something, kids will be like, they're telling me to do it more, right? But I think when people stammer or stutter, and some of us might have that issue, okay, I think it's all about our emotions and our nerves. I think a lot of students think that teachers are out there, right, to minus their marks and to score them badly, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe they think that, oh, the teachers are very fierce, very strict. Oh, I might make a mistake, that kind of thing. So you actually defeat yourself before you even go for the reading aloud. So Han Mai has a heart of gold. She says, don't stammer or stutter. And what is the strategy for that? So let's write that down. Thank you for sharing. Don't stammer or sorry, I wrote off. Don't stammer or stutter. And what's the strategy? Okay, have good thoughts about your teacher and the test. Okay, good thoughts. And then we have Marissa. Marissa says emotions. What do you mean by emotions? Could it be like you need to change your tone when you are acting out certain emotions from the story? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, very good. So that's what she said. She's nodding her head. So it's the same one over here, varying your tone. Very good. Change your tone when the character is angry versus when the character is sad. You change your tone, right? Accordingly to be expressive and a bit dramatic, right? A little bit dramatic is fine. In fact, it will net you extra points. And then Emma says, don't rush. Okay, don't rush and talk more. So when she said talk more, that's for the conversation part, right? If you have something more to talk about, then you talk more, you will score better. The don't rush part is the reading aloud part over here. Okay, and that's a very good advice over there. Don't rush. And people rush because why? People rush because they want to get it over with because they are nervous, right? So how do we calm ourselves down and be less nervous? Maybe we can take deep breaths and we can have positive thoughts. Okay, so that's good, right? Some excellent tips and strategies that your friends have shared here as well. All right, remember, okay, take it as if your teacher is going to give you full marks, and then as you read, okay, your teacher picks up one, two, three errors. Maybe for every three errors, they will minus 1 mark, that kind of thing. Okay, so they are there to give you marks. Don't need to be too afraid about it. Oh, Rina, I can finally see you today. Yes. Okay, because you have been using the computer that's a bit spoiled, right? And then your face goes like very fuzzy and it looks quite scary. Today you're using the good computer. And is Yutaka using the computer that's a bit spoiled today? That could be it. I think Yutaka might be using the computer that's a little bit wonky. But good, I finally see Rina's face today. Not that I don't like your face, Yutaka. I like your face as well. It would be good to have both of you. It's just that I haven't seen Rina for I think 2 lessons already. Because she was using the one with the camera that there is an issue. Okay, so I wanted to draw your attention at the bottom over here as well. Okay, when you are reading, okay, boys and girls, look at the part that's I'm highlighting in orange over here. Okay, when you are reading, different punctuation marks actually mean that you have to pause for different amounts of time, okay, when you're reading. So you need to pause for the longest time when you have 3 dots, all right? They call this an ellipsis, all right, 3 dots. And then you don't need to pause when you have open inverted commas, close inverted commas, and apostrophes. So let me give you an example of a sentence with 3 dots. Normally, the author will put 3 dots in the story to show you that that part you need to pause for a bit. But why do you need to pause? Maybe it's because that part is going to be scary. So the author wants to build suspense. Or maybe that part is ridiculous. The author wants to give you some time to think about how ridiculous the situation is. Or the author wants you to pause because that part is important to the story, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say one day, okay, Tan Mai is challenged by her friend to um, perhaps enter a haunted house, okay? And then in that haunted house, Tan Mai, right, is about to see something horrific. But okay, before she sees the really horrific thing, we put a dot 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 there to help the reader, right, to build up the suspense. Okay, let me just change this accordingly as well. I want to make it a bit bigger. Where is my change text? Draw. Where are my options? My goodness. More. Dot toolbar. I want to change the. Why can't I change it? Hmm. Give me a second now. Let me figure out this new Zoom interface. It's so irritating.